It is time. It is time to brew your best beer. Brought to you by Beer Greens Supply Company, BrewTubers Online Brewers Club, Brew UK, Panhead Brewery, Tanner Ritchie, Finney's Homebrew Emporium, Brig Selv, Hackney Brewery, Hashigo Sake, Mangrove Jacks, Sprig and Fern Tavern, Yakima Valley Hops.
Hey everybody, happy Homebrew Wednesday. It's Brad here at Wild Boys Brewery. What I got going on this week was I did some sour beer starters. Big shout out to Kevin Clements for sending me some beers from Russian River. He sent me Supplication, and he also sent me Consecration. And they were both really nice drinking beers. Some of the better sours I've had. The Supplication is it's ale aged in Pinot Noir barrels with cherries added, and it's a brown. And that one was good. The they're really big beers. This one is well, this one's not that big. It's 7.75, so close to 8%. And then the Consecration is 10%, so it's a big beer. And it's a dark ale aged in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels with black Corons. The nose on this beer is awesome. The taste, it was not awesome. It was very good. The Supplication, the nose and the taste both was good to very good. Wasn't quite as good as the Consecration. I did a 3-gallon starter. Used 1 gallon for Consecration, half a gallon for Supplication. Then I also had a Wicked Weed. It's a sour red ale aged in wine barrels with blackberries and dates called Oblivion, and this thing is kick-ass. I had drank this one about a week ago, and just saved about that much in the bottom of the bottle and put the cap back on it, stuck it in the refrigerator and saved it. And then I also got some found out a couple weeks ago that Crooked Stave is coming to North Carolina, and I got this St. Bretta Citrus Wild Beer. It's 100% Brett beer, and surprisingly, Brett beers to me are usually either just okay or good, and this one was awesome. I actually like this Crooked Stave beer better than I did either one of the Russian River beers, which was kind of surprising because it's not a sour beer, it's just a 100% Brett beer. But what I did was I had about 1.5 gallons of my chocolate vanilla bean stout left over that wasn't getting drank, so instead of throwing it out, I put that into a 3-gallon carboy, and then I topped it up with the rest of that 3 gallons that I did the starter with the Pilsner DME on the stove. Didn't add any hops to that at all. The debittered black stout with the vanilla beans and the chocolate in it was about 34 IBUs, I think, which is way beyond what you can do a sour beer with. So I'm hoping that by adding a little more than half, because it was probably not quite 1.5 gallons of that left, and I added probably like 1.8 gallons of that fresh wort to it, knocked the IBUs on it down into the range of somewhere between 12 and 15, hopefully, where the sour bugs can do something. We'll see. But what I did was I took the dregs from the Oblivion and probably about that much, about an inch and a half of that Brett beer, and pitched those two together in the 3 gallons of black ale that I'm going to do, and it's already took off and started fermenting again. It's got a krausen on top of it and it's bubbling. The consecration's not doing anything, but I wasn't expecting it to, because I think basically they re-ferment it with wine yeast. The wine yeast is dead. It'll probably take a couple weeks before you start seeing the lactobacillus or pediococcus start doing anything in that. And then the same thing with the supplication. So I'm not expecting any activity from those for a while. However, the supplication airlock thing is pushed up, so it's doing something. But basically, I'll show you some of those, and then I've got my Rosalaire, 5 gallons of, well, close to 6 gallons of, it's going to be a sour blonde, and I'm going to put either cherries on that one, or I may do dates and figs. I haven't decided yet. Probably what I'll wind up doing with that is let it go for about a year, maybe 18 months, rack about 3 gallons off of it, put it on 2 gallons or 3 gallons of fresh wort, and then add some dried fruit to it, and then just let it go for like another year. So I'm not going to be drinking that for a long time, but maybe might just let it go for 6 months and then taste it and see how it is. And if it tastes pretty good, then I'll go ahead and keg that up and start drinking on it. But if it's not where I want it to be, I'm just going to let it go. I'm digging on these sour beers and these Brett beers pretty good. They're super expensive is my only real complaint about them. So that's why I've started doing them myself. As far as like, I'm not going to quit doing clean beers. These are long-term beers. They take a long time to get done. And so basically just they're just kind of a side project, more or less, for the Wild Boys Brewery. Today I'm also brewing. I'm collecting some wort right now for my oatmeal raisin cookie brown ale, and it's basically the old nutcase brown ale from Randy Moser's book, and you take you substitute a pound of one of the base malts for a pound of toasted oats. So I toasted the oats at 300 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. Smell just like cookies. He says toast them, they smell like cookies. They started smelling like cookies within 10 minutes, but I figured they needed a little longer than that to impart more flavor. So I let them go for 15, took them out, stirred them up, put them back in for about another 5 minutes or something like that, and then just pulled them out, let them cool off, and I threw them in the mash. And I've got this cookie brown going on right now. It uses mild ale base malt, and I've never used it before. And when I was getting this recipe together, Dan down at the homebrew store said this thing's going to be a bread bomb. He said if there was ever such thing as being cloyingly bready, this was going to be it. But I wanted to stick true to the actual recipe that Randy Moser had in his book, so I did. It is very, very bready, but it tastes great, smells awesome. You add brown sugar to it to thin it out, about a pound of it late in the kettle edition. I also did my own addition to it by adding 12 ounces of Crystal 120, which is supposed to kind of mimic the raisin flavor in it, which wasn't part of the original recipe. And it does kind of come across in the flavor from just a sweet wort, what you can tell. Probably more raisin in it after it ferments out, because the Crystal won't ferment out. But it's smelling good. I'm collecting the wort right now. Basically, I'll post a link to the recipe if you want to check it out. It's for a 6-gallon batch. So that's pretty much it. One other thing, I got the SJ Pour beer gassing up right now. I'm going to bottle it up on Thursdays, put the labels on it, and then ship it out to SJ on Friday. So he should get it, and that thing is tasting great. I almost hate to ship it off, to be honest with you. That was my favorite beer I brewed last year, and this is like the 3rd batch I brewed of it this year for the competition. Once for the southern region, once for the U.S. region. This batch will be for the international competition leg, and I haven't saved any of it. I've just left what I didn't bottle in a keg and drank it all, and it's been gone fast. So that's a sign of a good beer, and I hope everybody else likes it. It's tasting great. Looking forward to getting the feedback from the guys overseas on it. I will go and show some footage of the sour beers that I got going on. Okay, the Skull Camp Growler has the supplication dregs in it. The only clear one I had left was being used for a blow-off trap, so I'll just use the amber. That's got the consecration in it. It's a gallon. That's a half gallon, a little less than half gallon, about 3/4 of a gallon, something like that in that one. This is the one with the dark ale, the debittered black chocolate vanilla bean stout. You can see it's already kicked back in. It's got a Krausen on top of it. That's the one that's got the Wicked Weed, Oblivion, and the St. Bretta citrus wild beer in it. And then that's the Rosalaire back there. And it's pretty much looking about the same as it has for a while. But you can see the airlock has positive pressure on it, so it means it's doing something. It's not bubbling, but it is souring. And then this is the Heady Topper clone here, and it's still bubbling going into its... Can't remember if this is the second or third week. I think it might be the second week. If it's not, then I'll transfer it into the carboy over there tomorrow. One other thing, Joe Belcher was sending a picture of my mash tun, saying I used a CPVC manifold. Next week I'll show a video of that and show what it looks like and how I made it and so forth. So that's what I'll do next week, and then we'll go from there. So happy Homebrew Wednesday, and see you guys next week. Cheers.